I'm not sure if you had time to look at this 45-page indictment, but conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and that other marker on this is one you talked about, and that was the against rights. This has to really do with the Constitution, doesn't it?
It does, and it has to do with the fundamental obligations of a president. I think, I have not had time to read it. I've had time to flip through it and look at it, and it's quite a long document. It's 45 pages. Parts of it are single-spaced. It's what they call, what prosecutors refer to as a speaking indictment. It's telling a story. I noticed that there are at least 7 I believe unnamed co-conspirators. I saw one page that had 1 through 7 listed. There may be more. This is a very, very substantial set of allegations, and Donald Trump, I'm quite sure, is the only named defendant in it. And it's on the other hand, it's no doubt telling a pretty darn clear story and reciting a significant amount of what the evidence will be, I suspect. And the charges brought are pretty much the ones that I think, commentary has focused on since the Target letter. The conspiracy to defraud the United States, I expect, is aimed at the idea that the United States has processes that are critically important, and it needs to be able to resolve its electoral processes in a fair way. And this was an effort to defraud that whole effort. The conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, a separate statute, probably focused mainly, if not only, on interfering with the events on Capitol Hill on January 6th. I noted that there is mention of the utilization of violence. There is not, on the other hand, any sort of a specific charge related to the incitement of violence that might have been brought. And I think that's not too much of a surprise, because the insurrection charge that our memo back a few weeks ago suggested is not here. And I suspect that's not the central, not going to be a specific part of this indictment. But at the end, as I mentioned earlier in this hour, there is a specific charge listed of violation of civil rights of individuals. And it's essentially the same conduct in trying to steal the election. And what exactly may all be in there that they are relying upon, I don't know, because I haven't been able to read it all yet. But it's making the critical point that it isn't just the rights of the country, it's the rights of American citizens that the former president has undermined, according to this indictment. So I think this is a strong document, given the amount of detail. I think it tells a story for Americans to read and think about. And I think it's pretty clearly supported by all that we've been hearing now for more than a couple of years about what went on. So I think it's going to be, people say it's an important day and a sad day, more an important day than a sad day. It's sad that we had a president who did these things. It's critically important that we do something to deal with it. And now steps are being taken to go forward and hold the former president accountable. And that's a good day. That's not a bad day.
Well, now that we actually see the charges here, to your point, Donald, nothing specific to the actions on January 6th. There was certainly not an insurrection charge in here. Does that speak to the difficulty involved in proving such a charge, in convicting on such a charge, or was there simply not enough evidence?
I think it goes to the fact that, what I would think in the first instance, the biggest point is that Jack Smith's team is going to have to prove these allegations in court to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. And that really sets a high priority on figuring out how to streamline and make clear what the allegations are. The allegations we have here essentially focus on one story that has many chapters. It's the effort to steal the election, deny the country its rights, deny the people their rights, That's what this is about. Allegations of insurrection or incitement of insurrection or seditious conspiracy would require showings that would be more complicated. I think there's plenty of evidence to support it. One issue that they would run into doing that would be the question of speech given on the mall, on that day. And would you use it? Would you not use it? I think you could use it in a perfect world. But the problem is it's going to, there'll be a First Amendment claim. I had a right to free speech. That would have to be litigated. That would delay the process long. This case go to trial before the election. And I suspect that was part of what Jack Smith was thinking about.